As you all know, C-STEM has been responsible for developing amazing talent by sparking interest, inspiration, and motivation to students to pursue C-STEM majors and careers. It is my pleasure to introduce 3 talented, amazing, and accomplished young women who have participated. I think it's actually more accurate to say who lived and breathed C-STEM during their middle school, high school, and college years. They are part of the talent pipeline that C-STEM has nurtured. Now, as young professionals, they are back to share their story. Each young STEM professional has a PowerPoint presentation to share her story. Then we will have a Q&A session. First, we'll have Ms. Jordan Criswell of General Motors. Second, Ms. Annie Gao of Facebook. And third, Ms. Emma Kristovich of Amazon Alexa. Before I start, I'd like to present all of you with 4 questions for you to ponder as you listen to our presenters. Number 1, who said what? Who said 1? Harry, Dr. Harry Cheng, is the sweetest thing, and I'm an extrovert. 2, cooking for myself is one of the hardest challenges post-college. 3, during college years, much of my time was spent doing volunteer work for C-STEM. 4, it was important and had huge impact that I could go and do my homework in my teacher's classroom after school and do C-STEM, STEM-related activities. First 4 educators to type in correct response to these 4 questions will get $5 Starbucks gift card. Now, with that incentive and without further ado, let's hear from Ms. Jordan Criswell.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. I'm going to share my screen. Or are you pulling up the presentation? No, I got it. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jordan Criswell, and I am currently working for General Motors out in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. I'm currently a track engineer, so it's a rotational position that they do at General Motors, where every 6 months I get to work in a new position for the first 2 years of my career there, which is really great for new college grads that aren't sure what they want to do yet. My current rotation is in software feature integration. My role is to take new software and load it onto developing vehicles. And I have certain features that I'm assigned to that I check and validate on a vehicle and root cause and troubleshoot when the feature is not working right with that software release. So my time with C-STEM, so yes, lived it, breathed it throughout my entire middle school, high school, college. I've been with this program since 2011. That's me top left when we first were introduced to a lot of this and the Mobots way back in the day. And every year I competed and I was involved all the way through the end of high school. So my time began in 7th grade at Bridgeway Island Elementary School out in West Sacramento. My teacher was Miss Schulhammer, and she was the best. I took an intro to programming class, intro to C++, and fell in love with it. I thought that being able to do that we see on phones and computers, and I get to make that was just a light bulb. That was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And from 7th grade on, I knew I wanted to be an engineer, which was pretty insane. I never swayed from it. I knew I wanted to be an engineer, and I never ventured away from that. From there, I went to River City High School, also in West Sac, and went through the Project Lead the Way pipeline throughout my high school time there, and did robotics club and competed again at UC Davis every year, and it was just the best. So competed in the RoboPlay, and then also volunteered with the girls leadership camp. From there, I went and got my bachelor's in robotics and mechatronics systems engineering. And I would say a huge part of what got me here was my time with Mr. Fagu in high school. I think that he noticed and recognized my curiosity and my interest in both the mechanical side and the electrical side of these, Mobots. I wanted to be a big part in the programming throughout the competition, but also with the mechanical builds of the configurations of the robots. And he put some people in some roles and some teams based on interest, but he saw that I didn't want to fall into either or, and kind of put me in this pseudo role where I could do both. And that led to a huge part of my decision. University of Detroit Mercy in Michigan has one of 4 ABET accredited robotics programs. And so I applied to the 4. I got into Detroit Mercy, got a great scholarship. And it's a combination of both ME and EE practices, which was exactly what I wanted and I needed, and found that out in high school through these CSTEM robotics competitions. I would say another part of where I am today, and through my college career as well as in my professional career, I would say that my extracurriculars took me a very long way. Everything from the jobs I held at Target and Starbucks to kind of show me being a people person. My sports took me all over the country. My first 2 years of college were actually in North Carolina, where I played softball for a couple of years before I transferred for academic reasons. And internships later in my college career. I think I have it actually in my next one. Yeah. My first internship for the engineering world was after my sophomore year of college. I worked at Fanuc Robotics, which is the big yellow robots that put cars together, and loved it. The next summer I had an internship at General Motors, and they hired me the next year. So that's where I am now. I think that having those internships in college absolutely gave me a foot in the door. I think that Fanuc, when I had my first internship, they liked how well-rounded I was, and that I'd been through a lot and seen a lot. I was a good people person, and especially with General Motors, they hire people who are people. I guess that's a funny way of saying that, but I would say that definitely helped me get to where I am now. So yeah, now I'm doing engineering at General Motors, and a huge emphasis on what I do is in systems engineering. I love systems engineering, and again, a lot of that came from involvement in both the programming and the mechanical builds and what we did in the robotics club and in the competitions. I would say soft skills, absolutely 100%, has been such a huge part of where I am today, is being able to communicate and talk to people. And I think a lot of that was my background in jobs and sports and going out and meeting people. And I would say that's like some of my advice to any teachers out there. If you're with students, just encouraging them to be well-rounded. You want to create well-rounded people. And shout outs to Ms. Schulhammer from elementary days, Mr. Fagu, and Dr. Chang. It's been a long time that I've been with them, and I've known them for over a decade now, which I think is pretty crazy. But that's my journey and where I am now. So thank you guys.
Great, thank you so much, Jordan. And if you have any questions, please type them into Q&A. And now, Miss Annie Gao.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Annie. All right, and let me share my screen. Okay, can everyone see that? All right. Well, again, my name is Annie. I'm a software engineer right now at Facebook. I just graduated from college earlier this year, so it's my first time working. I'm on a Facebook newsfeed team, and we're specifically responsible for integrity. So we kind of control the distribution of your newsfeed to try to minimize harmful content. Cool. So I started my CSEM journey in 10th grade of high school, so a little later than everyone else. And I competed for at the competition for the first time, kind of before I really knew too much about coding. This is before I took AP Computer Science. One of my friends just kind of dragged me into this. She was like, "Oh, I think you'll like it." And I did. It was great. And so I did it again junior year and again senior year. Fun fact, I actually missed prom to go to CSTEM, the competition. And we trained under Miss Jaime. She's one of my favorite teachers. And it was a lot of fun. Like, the robots are pretty cute, and coding them was like very fun. And then I did spend a few summers with Miss Jaime also teaching CSTEM and like programming in CH to a bunch of middle school, high schoolers. I think that's someone, or like a student we had in one of the pictures. They're kind of exploring how the robots wiggle around. And this was a program that actually Mary kind of hosted at IVC and ATEP, and it was a lot of fun. And then I think at some point, probably after graduating from high school, I've also worked with two IVC students, Pris and Shirin, to kind of make our own little CSTEM program specifically for girls, to kind of give them kind of an edge in kind of, both closing the gender gap, but also just to introduce them to computer science in a pretty fun way, to prepare them for the future. Let's see, and then yep. And then, so I did my undergrad at Yale. I did a combined BS-MS in computer science. And in my time there, the CSTEM did influence me. I worked in a robotics lab for a little bit, did some research on robot photography. Actually, in the picture, that is me trying to take a selfie with our new robot. And yeah, also, I ended up writing my thesis. So I had a pretty strong interest in machine learning and artificial intelligence. So that's what I worked on in the second half of college. I ended up working in a biology lab where we were looking at kind of cell sequencing data and mapping them over with unsupervised learning methods. So yeah, CSTEM was really great. I think it was one of the main things that kind of helped me find, like, it made me discover, oh, like I do want to do CS long term. It is fun. And I think teaching middle school, high school students definitely helped. I did like a mentoring program freshman year of college where we went around to local middle schools and taught them how to code. So it was like a similar experience and also very fun. All right, now to job life. I did some internships in the summers before, leading up to, I guess, graduation. I spent my first summer at Kia Motors in Irvine, and I guess learned how to drive more. And I was also doing some IT stuff for them. And then the following year, I worked at Google. That was pretty fun too. But I think at Facebook, the following year was really a more exciting environment for projects. And very applicable to like everyday life now. And so I did come back this year. And yeah, now I get to kind of reduce misinformation on newsfeed. So just like at a high level, I'm sure you guys have all heard of like the algorithm. It's in the news all the time. But basically, like there's a whole bunch of posts that we could choose. There's much more information than can fit on your newsfeed, obviously. So there's like a kind of order that we kind of prescribe. And my team is not the only team working on this. We're just responsible for the integrity part. So reducing the bad stuff specifically. And so as you guys know, every single post has a whole bunch of factors associated with it, like how likely are you to like it or comment or whatever. But also, like, so those are the engagement terms. And we also have a set of like, how potentially worth your time or how valuable it is to you, how harmful it is. And so based on these measures, then you assign kind of weights, and at the end of the day, there's like some big equation, you come out with a value and that's the order in which you'll see your content. So that's what I work on in day-to-day life. And yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, I think CSTEM is great. That is a picture, I think, of some, I don't know, elephant thing we were just playing around. We've also built like these giant claw things to pick up blocks. I remember that was very fun looking back, but definitely a bit of a headache while doing it. But yeah, like I think everybody should try CSTEM. It's great to kind of build skills in like teamwork, problem solving, learning languages, and like building the actual robot. So I think, as Jordan was saying, it's a good mix of like, hands-on things and also the like coding stuff. Yeah, it was really fun and would encourage everyone to participate. It's good learning experience. All right, that's it.
Thank you so much, Annie.
Thank
I mean, missing her prom for CSTEM competition. Now that's dedication. Now our last presenter is Emma Kristovich. Some of you may be very familiar with her name. Emma?
All right, let me share my screen. All right, so as some of you know, my name is Kristovich, and I'm a software development engineer at Amazon Alexa. So as a software engineer for Alexa, I'm supposed to design, develop, and maintain features that delight our customers. Before Alexa, I was very involved in CSEM. First, I was a student in the CSEM program. And then in college, I was a RoboPlay coordinator. So I want to share a little bit of that with you all today. So first up, in high school, I started with CSEM at Livermore High School, which is in the East Bay area, if you don't know. My teacher, Sue Johnston, she started a coding club in my sophomore year, and I joined because I wanted to learn how to code and I didn't know how. And so she had gone to Davis, and she came back from a CSEM training with some link bots. And we were like, okay, well, we don't know what else we're going to do in this club, so let's learn how to code with link bots. And so we did. And I was immediately fascinated by how this like little robot would move when I told it to. And I think it just became really intuitive for me. And I really wanted to practice more and play around more with the link bots. And so we went to our first RoboPlay competition in 2014 when I was a sophomore. And we did pretty well, actually. And that motivated us to keep practicing because we really wanted to win. And RoboPlay quickly became my favorite extracurricular activity. And is really where I spent a lot of my time in high school. By the time I graduated, I had gone to 3 challenge competitions and 1 video competition. Also, my teacher had an Algebra 1 with Computing and Robotics class, and so I got to TA in that, which is really fun to mentor the younger students and show them how to use the link bots. So after that, I went to UC Davis to get my bachelor's degree in computer science and engineering. And outside of class, I did spend a lot of time at the CSEM Center. I can't say that CSEM was entirely the reason that I chose to go to UC Davis, but I was very excited for the opportunity to get to work there and share some of the joys that I had with CSEM with new students in middle school and high school now. And I became the RoboPlay coordinator, and one of my favorite parts of that job was getting to write the challenges in the challenge competition. So if you had students compete in the challenge competition between, what was it, like 2017 and 2019, they'll probably blame me for those difficult challenges. All right, so my senior year of college, I was very excited to be accepted as a new grad software engineer at Amazon. I had some internships before that, but this was like my first time working at a really big software company. So I was very excited. I started at Alexa in the fall of 2020, a few months after I graduated from college, and I've been there now for a little over a year. And I have to say, Alexa is definitely a very cool place to work. We work on products that closely impact millions of people every day, which I think is really important to me. My team is great, and every day I get to work with brilliant people. I love how fast-paced it is, and I love that I can see the impact of my work that I do like day to day in the Alexa devices that I have in my home. Kind of like how I loved watching the link bots follow the code that I wrote for them. So it's been a great experience for me working at Alexa. So just a little bit more about CSEM and my thoughts on CSEM. I would say that CSEM and RoboPlay specifically has probably been the biggest contributor to my decision to become a software engineer and my success as one. Even though I was lucky enough to have computer science classes in high school, and really the formal education in high school and college were very instrumental in developing the skills that I have. Like I'm always using the software design patterns I learned in college and the Java syntax that I learned in AP computer science in high school. But like there are some skills that a standard class can't teach you because you can't really measure and grade them. And that's really what I learned from RoboPlay that was so impactful for me. I learned how to build trust with teammates and how to become a leader. And I learned how to work efficiently under pressure and how to delegate tasks so that we could get the challenges done. I developed tenacity and excellent problem-solving skills. And most importantly, I think for me, I learned how to be creative when working on new problems that were ambiguous and that they didn't have an answer to yet. And so that's been really useful for me now in my job, where there's no one I can go to get the answer from them. Like, I have to figure it out. And that's been something that I've learned from RoboPlay that's been really important. And the thing is, like, I don't even write a for loop every day. Some days I don't write any code at all, even though I'm a software engineer. But every day I do use those skills that I learned from all the years with RoboPlay. And I really believe that RoboPlay and CSTEM in general can be a resource that gives students the space to learn at their own pace and be creative. And all you need really is a classroom with an open door and some link bots, and just give students the time to explore and be creative.
Great.
So that's all I have for you.
Thank you, Emma. We have Annie, who did not go to her prom. We have Emma, who in the spirit of CSTEM and volunteerism has spent so many times creating what Shauna says. Yes, Emma, we loved your challenges and they are hard. So you've certainly impacted all the middle school and high school students who went through the competition. If you have any questions, please